I recently bought a buy-to-let property in the UK for £106,000 and self-managed the entire refurbishment costing £17,000. That has generated me a £15,000 profit in just 3 months, and in this video I want to share with you 3 reasons why I decided to do this. There's many reasons why I decided to self-manage my refurb project. Now, there are 3 reasons why I did it and also 3 major lessons that I've learned from it as a result. Firstly is keeping costs down. Now, if you hire a main contractor or a builder, then they are going to be managing the project for you. So you are essentially paying for their services, their time, and they themselves need to make a profit and make a living. A main contractor or a builder will then have loads of subcontractors underneath them. So these are the tradespeople, it could be a plumber, a plasterer, an electrician, and they'll be working for the main contractor. And they also have to pay them their wages, and they themselves need to make some profit out of all the costs and materials that they're going to be spending. And depending on different quotes that you get from builders and main contractors, you'll notice that going to contractors yourself versus getting a builder to essentially manage it is going to be a difference of anywhere between 20 to 40% depending on how many builders you speak to. But this is because you're paying for their time, their profit, and you're paying for them to do all of those little trips to Wix and to Screwfix and get all the small things that you always forget in a build project, and they're going to be spending a lot of time on this, and that's where all of the additional cost comes in. Now, I originally budgeted about £10,000 for the refurb on my buy-to-let project, and now the refurb is about £17,000. Now, you can look at that and say, what on earth happened to go from 10k to 17k? But as much as there was an overspend, it was still planned and agreed at the end of the day. With house prices going up massively, when I was going through the property, we found more and more problems, and it's better to fix them all now rather than just let things get worse. So there was way more scope, we were taking way more plaster off the walls than what we ever anticipated, had a completely brand new bathroom, completely brand new kitchen, so everything was bigger, but that's fine. And it's good that I self-managed this because I learned about a bigger contingency, but also because the costs increased, at least because I'm doing it, it increased not as much as it would have done by getting the main contractor to also increase the scope of the project. Secondly, I decided to manage my buy-to-let refurb because it gave me the relevant construction experience. Now, I've never really managed a first fix and a second fix end-to-end project, so it really is good to get on the ground learning what happens in that process. And the best CEOs of every company spend time in the business understanding how things work, where are the problem areas, and what can they make a difference on in their position as the CEO or the leader of the company. Whether that's understanding how much time something takes or how much effort goes into a particular task, it's given me way more insight and appreciation for certain jobs in the build process, so I understand whether I'm being ripped off on a quote or whether actually it's quite accurate and that's what I should be paying. It's also helped me understand in what order I should do things, and thinking about all the extra small little details, like when it comes to pipes, where should you put certain things like the stopcock and isolation valves that makes such a big difference. It's easy just to look at a spreadsheet or a plan or a Gantt chart if you've not got the relevant experience, but then telling the trades what to do, because on the ground there's probably going to be confusion, things are going to go in the wrong order, and it's going to create expensive problems down the line that you then need to fix and rectify. I guarantee just by going through that process once, you will learn so much about the build process, which will then help you look at doing that on your own, either working with a main contractor and keeping an eye on them, or being the project manager yourself of multiple different trades. Thirdly, was learning from my mistakes. Now, I really wanted to just get stuck into the project and get things wrong. Now, I had enough knowledge to mitigate some of the really big, obvious problems that could have been costly or expensive, but by making small mistakes and just having problems and roadblocks chucked at me, it meant that I was able to solve complex problems, and everything is solvable and figure-outable. Whether I've gotten things in the wrong order during the build process or there's been a few mistakes that I then have to pay to have rectified, it's all a really good learning experience. I know that going forwards in the future that I won't be making the same mistakes, and therefore that can't happen. And if I'm managing the project from a distance, then that just makes things a little bit easier for me because I have that experience and appreciation for things that can go wrong. I've noticed that even the professionals that you hire can sometimes make mistakes as well, whether it's the plumber putting pipes in the wrong places or electricians wiring up things incorrectly. Stuff happens, and you're paying them to do a service, and therefore a good person in your team will rectify their mistake. A better tradesman is someone who is going to be someone who spots the mistake straight away and fixes it without you even knowing or even making it your problem. But I have noticed that as I've been building my power team and worked with different people, both from the professional services to the tradesmen on the ground, you'll notice that there are good and bad. Those that make their problems your problem or put their mistakes and cost onto you are not people that you want in the team. So the best thing to do is get rid of them and find someone better who's going to be a stronger person that you can trust and rely on as the business and company grows. Ultimately, as the owner of the business, you need to protect your systems and processes and make sure that those who are working in your business and around it are not going to add any risk further down the line by making mistakes like they do when they're working early on. I've hired some great people for the business so far, and I think after a few small tweaks for the next project, I will have a solid team of people to go from obtaining finance to going through the solicitor's process to building the actual project. And I know that I have a team that I can trust and that will do an awesome job and take ownership of problems and issues and make the project as easy as possible. So after the whole whirlwind of managing a £17,000 refurb on the buy-to-let, here's 3 key learnings I've taken from managing my own build project and things that I'll take with me into the next project, and also the things I wish I'd realised before I stepped into this project. The first major learning is playing to my strengths. Now, everyone has strengths and weaknesses, things they enjoy doing and things they don't enjoy doing. Now, my background in the 9 to 5 is project management, managing teams, leading, inspiring, creating a vision and a plan around that rather than the hard graft. I'm the kind of person who is hired for their brains to work on a project rather than physical strength and labouring all day, and that's what I enjoy doing more. That being said, it's been great to learn how to fit a bathroom, fit a kitchen, but at the same time, I'd say the craftsmanship of some of that isn't the best in the world. As much as I've tried to do a good job, sometimes the professional can just do it way better. But when I think about the cost of my time, when I'm spending it to fit a bathroom and a kitchen, instead, my time in the future is going to be best spent working on the business rather than in the business and creating the plans and managing it and making sure that everything goes on track, and then hiring the people to do the labour during the day. Otherwise, it takes up a lot of my time and slows the entire project down. And instead, for the entire rip out and build process, I need to make sure that I am outsourcing more in the future. Now, I did a lot of the rip out myself. In future, I found a great team of people who can do that for me. I'm also going to give the plumber more responsibility because he did the first fixes and then I did the second fixes, but I want to get to a place where the project has enough contingency in the budget and the refurb costs to just hire a full team to do the whole thing. And really, if I'm sourcing the right projects that have the right numbers and figures, then it shouldn't be a problem hiring a full team of people to do all of the work. I think it just happened in this particular scenario where I wanted to squeeze as much profit out of a vanilla buy-to-let project as possible. It's a hot market and it's difficult to make any profit on buy-to-lets at the moment because every man and his dog are trying to get refurb properties, so this one was a really hard squeeze. Secondly, the major thing that I learned was you make money when you buy, not when you sell. Now, I'd heard this floating about on the Instagram property community for quite a while, and I got what it meant, but actually now going through this project, I really realised the importance of this, and it's all about making sure that when you're buying a property, that you're buying it knowing all of the numbers in advance, and that you know if you get it at that price that you're going to make a solid return and a good profit. Because if you get caught up in all the hype and you're spending way more than what you need to on the property, then you're really slimming down those figures. There's not enough room for contingency and there's minimal profit in the property project, and it makes it not worth it. When I was bidding for properties and putting in offers, I saw so many sell for way more than the asking price and way more for what they were worth in their state and condition by the time you factored in the purchasing cost, the legal fees, and then also the refurb cost out of it. It meant that some of them would have made a £20,000 to £30,000 loss, and I feel sorry for the people who bought those if they're investors because they've bought really bad projects that they haven't analysed and done their numbers on. That being said, I'd rather them buy it than it being available for me because that means there are less people in the market buying the better properties. The reality is, if a property gets too hot and too busy and there's loads of offers and there's loads of competition, the best thing to do is walk away because you're not going to get it for a price that you want to hit your numbers and hit right return figure. Next is steering the ship. Now, this is all about working on the business, not in the business. Now, for the first project, it's been great to get involved and get stuck in and really learn the on-the-ground process. But going forwards, to grow a business and to make it sustainable and have long-term strategy and growth, you really need to be at the helm, making sure you know which direction the company is going in. So my company and group structure is not going to grow by me refurbing houses myself. It's going to grow by me looking at bigger deals, working on getting more finance, working with private investors, and that is how the business grows. To build a great business in any industry, it's all about creating systems and processes to the point where you could go away on holiday for 2, 3 weeks or even 4 weeks and nothing would require your help in the business. It still carries on as normal and things still happen. At the moment in the current property projects, because I've taken a 2-week break, that means that things slow down over Christmas and progress isn't made. And that's something that I need to change in the business going forward. If you want to find out more about the buy-to-let refurb, then definitely check out this video here, which is my full playlist looking at 3D renders, going through the plans, going through the costings and all of the property tours and showing you every step of the way what I did. So definitely check out this playlist, binge all of the videos and see how I went through that entire process. So click on here and I will see you in the playlist.